Wine was getting ready. Jenny had come over to help. Wine frowned at her reflection in the mirror. Wine, I have tried so hard with this outfit, but it still doesn't feel right. Jenny smiled reassuringly. Jenny, it's your first day, silly. You will look perfect no matter what. Wine nodded but looked at her seriously. Wine, you and Jack need to keep working at the cafe like usual. If we all disappear at once, it will raise suspicions. Jenny, don't worry, boss, she grinned. We will handle it, but tell me now, how does Lady Wine look today? Just then, Kiko, Wine's trained little bird, flapped his wings excitedly and chirped, Kiko, pretty, pretty. Jenny laughed. Jenny, hey, are you taking Kiko with you? Wine nodded. Wine, yeah, I want him to get familiar with the office too. After a few more finishing touches, the girls left the house. Kiko soared into the air, silently tailing Wine from above. Soon, Wine arrived at the building. It was massive, steel and glass towering into the clouds. As she approached the entrance, a uniformed security guard stepped in her path. Guard, ma'am, you don't appear to be an employee here. Do you have an appointment? The guard asked sternly. Wine held up the business card Jungkook had given her. Wine, Mr. Jun called me for an interview. See, he gave me this card. The guard glanced at it but didn't seem convinced. Guard, ma'am, people flash card here all the time. Sorry, I can't let you in just like that. Wine signed but remained calm. Wine, if you don't believe me, you can make a call and verify. The guards chuckled dryly. Guard, you think we can just call Mr. John like that? You will have to wait here. We will go check inside. One of the guards entered the building. Minutes passed. Then 10 of minutes, nearly a whole hour. One stood under the hot sun, sweat collecting at her hairline. Her patient was thinning. She turned her head and spotted Kiko sitting quietly on a tree bench nearby, hiding in the leaves, watching everything. Finally the guard returned. Guard, you may go inside, he said with a slightly apologetic tone. Just head to the front counter and wait there. Wine gave him a polite nod, then spotted inside. Just before entering, she paused, took a deep breath, and softened her features, switching into her innocent expression, the one that made people underestimate her. One step up to the counter, a woman was seated behind it, typing quietly on a computer. The woman looked up. You can have a seat. Mr. June will call you in shortly. One nodded and sat down without a word. The soft ticking of the clock was the only sound in the reception. A few minutes passed. The woman finally gestured toward the hallway. Sir is ready for you. You may go in now. Wine took a deep breath, stood up, and walked toward the office. She paused in front of the tall, dark door and knocked. A calm but commanding voice replied from inside, "Come in." As she entered, she was momentarily taken aback. The office was massive, more like a private executive suite than a simple workplace. The walls were glass on one side, overlooking the skyline. The other walls were filled with files, shelves, and digital monitors. Wine approached the large mahogany desk. Behind it sat Jungkook, the man who was feared and respected alike in the business world. Wine cleared her throat. Wine, sir, you told me yesterday to come to your office today. Jungkook didn't look up. Jungkook, your CV. Wine extended a crisp folder. Wine, here it is, sir. He finally glanced at her, then opened the file. His eyes scanned the place slowly, pausing at certain points. Wine stood still, heart pounding. She had frozen this resume with great care, but still, if he cocked even the slightest inconsistency, it would be over. After what felt like hours, he looked up. Jungkook, you will start working as my assistant, but if you are going to work for me, there are conditions. Wine, I am willing to follow your condition, you said, sir. Wine replied immediately. Jungkook leaned back, folding his arms. Jungkook, I don't tolerate laziness. There are no fixed hours here. My assistant works when I work, and I don't stop. Even when you are at home, I might call. I have too many responsibilities, not all of them tied to this office. My assistant needs to keep an eye on everything, including things that may not seem important at first glance. Wine listened carefully, noting. Wine understood, sir. I will do my best to meet your expectations. He stood up, gesturing to a corner of the room. Jungkook, that small desk over there, that where you will sit. There is a tablet on it with all schedules, contact codes. Get familiar with everything. If you want, spend today studying it. You can officially start tomorrow. Fine, all right, sir. Wine walked slowly to the corner desk. It was simple but neat. The tablet was already on, showing a well organized interface, calendars, notes, employee profiles, even surveillance lists. She spent the rest of the day studying everything carefully, trying not to look too eager. Jungkook left the office at some point, attending to some unknown business. The moment he was gone, Wan took a chance to speak briefly with Jenny and Jack, gathering minor but valuable information. Everything is going smoothly, she thought. No rush, step by step. Patient is everything in a mission like this. The day passed quietly. At closing time, she packed up and exited the building. From across the street, Kiko, her silent companion, began trailing her, keeping his distance. One avoided any vehicles on purpose, choosing instead to walk home slowly, making Kiko's job easier and avoiding suspicion. Once home, she sighed as she closed the door behind her. Wine, I'm exhausted, she muttered, collapsing onto the couch. I sat all day. She poured food for Kiko, who poured appreciatively and began eating. Wine took her own meal quietly, her mind still on the event of the day. After dinner, she opened her laptop and began reviewing mission notes again, cross-referencing details from the office slowly. Her eyes grew heavier and eventually she fell asleep at her desk, the screen still glowing softly in the dark. Wine sat at her desk early in the morning, her eyes fixed on her laptop screen. When the heavy glass door to the office opened, without needing to look up, she knew who it was. Jungkook stepped in, his presence as commanding as ever. Wine immediately stood. Wine, good morning, sir. Jungkook gave a curt nod without a word and walked directly to his chair, sitting down with practiced elegance. Wine followed behind him, holding a digital tablet. Wine, sir, this morning you have a 10 a.m. meeting with Kim Industries. After that, we have a scheduled site visit to our new construction project. Upon returning, you expected to attend a lunch meeting with Mr. Shin. You don't have any appointments in the afternoon, but a few meetings are scheduled for the evening. Jungkook listened silently, then gave another brief note. Jungkook, get everything ready. Fine, it's all ready, sir. If you prefer, we can proceed to the meeting room now. Without replying, Jungkook stood up and headed toward the meeting room. The meeting went smoothly, too smoothly. One observed every face, every motion, every casual glance. Nothing raised suspicions. Everything was perfectly in place. One thing became clear to her. Jungkook didn't keep anything personal in their office. It was spotless, sterile even, like a place meant to reveal nothing. After the meeting, they drove to the construction site. Several buildings were in progress. The project was designed to house a school and living quarters for underprivileged children. All government permits had been secured. Wine walked around the site, taking notes and observing workers. As soon as Jungkook arrived, a group of laborers approached him. Jungkook, is there any issue with your meals? He asked directly. I want this project done quickly. The headmason smiled. Headmason, everything is going smoothly, sir. Thanks for your kindness. If this pace continues, we will be finished in no time. Jungkook nodded and moved on. Later, he had a lunch meeting scheduled with Mr. Shin. Since Wine wasn't needed there, she returned to the office. But Kiko, their silent operative, accompanied Jungkook. A discreet camera was attached to his ankle. Back to the office, Wine monitored the live footage through her tablet, but again nothing. Jungkook spoke politely, ate calmly, and maintained perfect poise. There was no sign of anything unusual, no hidden message, no indication of illicit dealings. Wine signed. Wine, Kiko, return to the office. There is nothing left for you there. Kiko obeyed silently. Wine leaned back, frustrated. Nothing, nothing at all. If this keeps going, we will never get anything. It had been a long, exhausting day. As the office lights began to dim and people headed home, one stayed back, wrapping up the last few documents. She wasn't in the final meeting with Jungkook, but she could tell something was off. As he entered his cabin, his face said it all: stormy eyes, clenched jaw, the air around him heavy with frustration. Wine stood silently, not wanting to provoke him. Wine, is something wrong? You can tell me. I might be able to help. Jungkook coldly, the day is over. Go home, Wine. Wine quietly. Okay, sir. She didn't say another word, picking up her bag. Wine stepped out into the night. The sky was above clouded, the wind whirling slightly, as if mirroring the turmoil inside her. One walked silently along the street when her earpiece buzzed to life. A voice on the other end said only one thing: One reported to headquarters immediately. Without hesitation, one dug into a public restroom nearby. In a matter of minutes, she changed out of her office attire, pulled a hood over her head, and concealed her identity. No one should suspect who she was now. She arrived at the secret HQ swiftly. Jack and Jenny were already there, waiting under the dim blue lights of the underground hall. As she approached, both of them turned toward her. What happened? Why are we summoned here so suddenly? Jack, no clue. All I know is the call was urgent, and it was only for three of us. Moments later, the door cracked open and Chief entered. They followed him into the mission room. Chief, only the three of us. You were summoned because this concerns your assignment. I hope you understand the gravity of that. Why, yes, sir. Chief, what's the status of your mission? Any breakthroughs? Any intel? When we have made significant progress, I have managed to get close to Mr. Jeon. He is becoming less cautious, and I believe we will soon have access to the critical data. Chief noting, Mr. John is accelerating his illegal activities. The longer this goes on, the more civilians will be caught in the fire. You need to act fast and stay focused. When understood, Sir Chief, I don't want to have to summon you like this again. Finish the mission. Without another word, he left. Jenny, frustrated, no matter how hard I try, I cannot dig any up on Jeon from the outside. He is too well protected. Jack, he's clever. Every trace leads to a dead end. When I have tried from the inside, his files are clean, too clean, but we will figure it out, I promise. Suddenly the room door cracked open again. Max, so what did our glorious chief have to say? Jenny snapping, mind your business, Max. This doesn't concern you. Max smirking, oh, I'm sure it doesn't for now, but if your mission fails, guess who gets to take over? He laughed smugly and walked away. All three stared at each other, visibly irritated. Jack, he was awaiting like a vulture. One firmly, let him. We are not failing. They stayed back a while longer, discussing strategies, timelines, and blind spots. Then, silently and with renewed resolve, they each leapt into the shadow of the night, knowing that the clock was ticking and failure was not an option. Wine woke up early the next morning. Today, no matter what, she had to dig something up, some kind of truth, some lead. She got ready quickly, skipping her usual routine. For the first time, she didn't bring Kiko with her. She needed to move alone today. As soon as she reached the office, she realized she was just a few minutes away from being late. She rushed inside, her heart pounding. The moment she entered the room, she froze. Jungkook was already there. Ryan, sorry sir, she muttered softly. Jungkook didn't reply. She just nodded slightly and kept working. He didn't speak a word the entire day, not to her, not to anyone. The whole office felt tense, like a storm was silently brewing. By nightfall, Wine was mentally exhausted. She packed her things slowly, still vibrating. Finally, Jungkook spoke. Jungkook, I won't be staying late tonight. You can head home now. Wine nodded, keeping her expression neutral. Wine, all right, sir. Moments later, she left the building. But instead of heading home, she changed into a completely different outfit, formal, sharp, and completely unrecognizable. A scarf covered the lower half of her face. She stood, waiting in the shadows just outside the office building. It didn't take long. Jungkook emerged, accompanied by two of his men. He got into his car and drove off. Won slipped into her own car, one she had parked earlier for this exact reason, and began trailing him silently through the night. After about 20 minutes, the car stopped outside an upscale bar, exclusive, private, and buzzing with secrets. Wine immediately dialed Jenny. Wine, come, quick, bring something I can wear inside the bar. Makeup too, I need to blend in. Jenny groaned but didn't ask questions. Within minutes she was there. She helped Wine transform, the perfect mask of confidence, glamour, and danger. Wine entered the bar like she belonged. The atmosphere was wild, loud music, dancing bodies, and a suffocating mix of perfume and alcohol. People were laughing, drinking, losing themselves. She kept moving through the crowd, searching, but she didn't see him anywhere. Then she spotted it. Very long, dimly lit, guarded, and there he was, Jungkook, sitting with a group of dangerous-looking men. They were drinking, whispering, plotting. One adjusted her mask and tied her scarf tighter around her face. Her eyes were the only visible part of her, sharp, cold, unreadable. With practiced elegance, she walked up to the group. Wine, mind if I join? She asked with low, slattery voice. One of the men turned, a smirk playing on his lips. Of course, come sit beside me, sweetheart. Wine slid into the seat. Jungkook didn't even glance at her. He was focused, his voice low as he spoke. Jungkook, you should not have invited others here, Josh, he said. Josh laughed. Josh, come on, Jungkook, don't be so stiff. It's no fun drinking alone. Just chill, man. Jungkook leaned forward, his tone dead serious. Jungkook, our shipment, the weapons, are arriving tonight. We need to leave now. Josh, can't we stay a little longer? Josh protested. Jungkook, no, he said firmly. We have stayed long enough. Let's go. With that, he stood and walked out of the lawn. Josh followed, clearly annoyed. One awaited until they were gone before slipping away. She quickly returned to her car and changed back into her original clothes. Within minutes, she was trailing them again, her heart racing, her mind focused. Where were they going? What kind of deals was about to unfold in the dark? Wine cautiously started following the convoy from a safe distance. After some time, the vehicle came to a halt in an old, secluded area. She parked her own car far behind and stepped out silently. From a distance, she watched as Jungkook and several men exited their cars and disappeared into an abandoned house. Keeping her movement discreet, Wine began trailing them on foot, but as soon as they entered the building, they seemed to vanish. Confused, she searched for any trace, room by room, hallway after hallway, until finally frustrated and exhausted, she rested her hand against a section of wall. To her surprise, a hidden panel shifted beneath her palm, revealing a concealed door. It cracked open automatically. Wine hesitated, then stepped into the pitch-black patches. Darkness lowered her hold. She could hear her own breath, shaky, heavy, and the faint echo of voices deeper inside. She followed the sound carefully not to make a noise. Through a narrow crack, she spotted them. Jungkook stood inside what looked like a high-tech underground facility surrounded by several foreign men, none of them Korean. Their accent hinted they were European, possibly Italian or French. Jungkook's voice was slow, commanding. Jungkook, the people sent to Italy have arrived safely? One of the men responded, no worries, they have been received and processed. Everything went as planned. Jungkook asked again, Jungkook, what about those we sent to France? Another man replied, some of them are in critical condition, but don't worry, they are being handled. They will recover soon. Jungkook added coldly, Jungkook, make sure the government doesn't find out. The foreigner gave a crooked look. Luca, the government won't know a thing, boss. I know exactly how to keep them blind. Jungkook nodded in approval. Jungkook, good. And as group began to leave, one quickly slipped behind a steel column, holding her breath until they exited. Once the room was empty, she stepped inside. It was no ordinary basement. This was a modern, secret armory. Walls lined with rare, high-powered weapons, most likely smuggled from overseas. Everything gleamed with deadly precision. Wayne whispered to herself, "Wayne, I need to get out of here fast." She rushed toward the secret door, but when she touched it, nothing happened. It refused to open. She tried again and again, but it was no use. Panic started to race. Her fingers trembled as she begged softly on the wall, hoping something would trigger it. Still nothing. Her phone had no signal. The air felt suffocating. One sank to the floor, her back against the cold steel. No signal, no escape, and no one knows I am here. What have I walked into?